When they do an episode like Doctor Who, The Church at Ruby Road, they intentionally set it up so they can easily tear down any critic of the show who dares to say anything negative or even criticize it. Russell T Davies goes out of his way to use the first few scenes to set up a divisive activist social agenda that underlies the show, being fully aware that it will gaslight his audience. He makes it clear that the new 15th Doctor is a gay man from Rwanda for the sole purpose of knowing that it will produce an uproar in the show's large fan base that has been built up over the last 60 years. But he doesn't care. I have never heard of the Doctor Who audience asking the writers or the showrunners to establish the sexual preference of its main characters. Why is it now so important that the audience knows who the Doctor spends time with in bed? Because it's important to the showrunner, Russell T Davies, and he's putting in place the terms and conditions for being a fan of the show by clearly defining the social and sexual habits of the 15th Doctor. And if you don't like it, you're a bigot and he doesn't want you as a fan of his show anyway. Doctor Who fans are only looking for great stories that have made the Doctor Who franchise what it is. Never have they asked for details of the Doctor's sexual lifestyle. Russell T Davies has an ideal partner in his angry crusade to gaslight Doctor Who fans with his aggressive activist social agenda, the Walt Disney Corporation, and they have wasted no time in establishing an extremely socially progressive theme for future episodes of the show. With the BBC's blessing, may I add. And they could care less about those long devoted fans who are only looking for the kinds of stories that have made this franchise a global hit. Disney actually invested $100 million into the production of this new Doctor Who season to ramp up the visuals. It's hard to see where that massive sum of money is on the screen, with the production quality being subpar on every level. I mean, it just boggles my mind why the showrunner, Russell T Davies, a person who helped grow the fan base from 2005 to 2010, has no hesitation in tearing it down. A franchise that has taken 60 years to grow its fan base, which now numbers into the millions. None of this is new to Disney, a company that has spent the last few years destroying the massive fan base of their two marquee franchises, Star Wars and Marvel. Both Russell T Davies and Disney believe that the social message takes precedent over the story. Their progressive ideas of storytelling must include an over-the-top progressive social agenda at the expense of losing millions of fans. They see their activism as an integral part of the franchise now and believe that it forms the fulcrum in which all plot events orbit around, as opposed to just telling great stories like the show has done for decades. It's intentional, it's deliberate, and flows from a belief system that consumes everything they do. I mean, these are angry people. It places a hammer in their hands to bash those who dare say anything negative or criticize what they create and how they create it. If you don't like the show, then it must be because you're a racist, homophobic bigot. Because the show is perfect. It's a perfect television series, a perfect script, and a perfect story. So anyone who would dare criticize it must be doing so because they disagree with the show's social constructs and agenda. They do not want these people as part of the Doctor Who fan base anymore. They are happy to tear down a great global franchise to a lesser version of what it was. The film and television industry is the only one that I can think of that has no problem demonizing their fans, their customers, who have spent hundreds and some even thousands of dollars over the years watching the show and buying show-related merchandise. It has placed the Doctor Who franchise on an unstoppable ratings decline, hitting new lows with each new episode. But that's okay, because these are the fans that apparently Russell T Davies, Disney, and the BBC do not want watching their show. It's mind-boggling how these socially minded activists have no problem destroying these long-standing franchises. Disney happily gives these activist showrunners a platform to distribute these shows that focus on their subjective social progressive commentary. They use their divisive agenda knowing that it will put the fans at odds with them and then blame them for being the ones who are destroying the show and calling them horrific names while doing it. The only thing that fans have ever asked for are great stories that Doctor Who has been known for. Let's strip away all the activist social themes in this Doctor Who episode and focus just on the script, the actual story. Do mainstream critics really believe that this episode of Doctor Who is 100% fresh? You're telling me that this Doctor Who Christmas special that has goblins running around, kidnapping people, bringing them to their floating goblin ship to be eaten as it circles the skies of London? This is what the critics believe to be the perfect script and television show? Really? Goblins on flying ships? This Doctor Who episode, The Church on Ruby Road, is considered a masterpiece by the critics with a 100% Tomatometer score on Rotten Tomatoes. This episode is sheer perfection, according to them. Wow. It demonstrates how media critics have become patsies for the socially progressive activists that have taken control of the film and television industry. If they dare speak up and say anything negative about the content of this episode, they will also be painted with the same brush and condemned to irrelevance. It's impossible to give an honest opinion, even if that opinion is based solely on the show's low-quality production, script, and storytelling. There's no way to win by giving anything other than a perfect score to these angry activists. The Doctor Who Christmas special is losing viewers for the sake of agenda. They now constantly remind the audience of the Doctor's sexual orientation, which is irrelevant to the kind of storytelling this show has been known for. Again, why does it matter who the Doctor spends time with in bed? Why? Why does it matter? But what audiences can do is vote with their feet and just change the channel and do not watch anything from the new Doctor Who franchise, as it cares more for broadcasting its divisive social agenda than just telling great stories. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.